It's just something that gets me a lot of views. It's something that excites a lot of people. It kind of stirs up the fantasies of a lot of us. And so we're always kind of talking and looking at MMOs, you know, just as a general gaming audience. Even if you don't play them, you probably know about a lot of drama that goes on, a lot of like some cool political stuff, maybe some world record battles in some game. You know the stories, you know, they've been told, the tales. But we don't always know which ones are good, which ones to get into. That's why probably top 10s on MMOs get a lot of views. But I wanted to do a list kind of talking about the top 5 that I think we should keep our eye on. Now, this is kind of a mix of a couple different lists. In a way, it's not just upcoming games, and it's not just games that are currently running or the newest expansions. This is games that are, I think, in my opinion, with my, my critical brain, my game design brain, I think that they're doing some interesting things, and we should look at them and see how that might potentially affect, the coming games. So some of these are new, some of these are older, some of these are not even out yet. But I think these are the games you should keep your eye on for reasons, which I'll go into as we list them out. All right, dudes, first game we're going to talk about is, at this moment, actually not even an MMO. So that's why we have to keep our eye on it. See, there's actually this precedent here for these survival-styled games or straight-up survival server games to get or acquire MMO servers. So we know this from Minecraft, actually has full MMO servers, and as well, I believe the YouTuber Nerdslayer is part of some sort of mod that's creating this medieval MMO thing on Rust, and Rust does have like really big servers. So look, it can happen. It's happened before. Okay, and Rend, I think if we keep watching it, it will grow into a full MMO proper. And if not, there's going to be private servers. Currently, it's 20 versus 20 versus 20, which is not quite MMO. That's big team battle, not the same. But private servers can up that number a little bit. I don't know to what extent, and I think eventually we could see true massive battles. Another reason why we should keep our eye on it is that it's a kind of really cool gimmick. It's got this gimmick of these timed PvE invasions, and it's kind of like this timed PvP events. The issue, though, is that they're like once or twice a week, when it really should be nightly, I think, in my opinion, and the campaigns last for a month, because yes, you can't actually win or lose Rend. I think they should be weekly. But yeah, so there's a little bit of weirdness with that in the sort of game flow, as well as the player count awkwardness, but it's also really buggy. So I had to actually refund my game because it just simply wasn't working. But I think if we keep watching it, it'll turn into, yes, an MMO, and also an actual playable game. In its early access state, it's a cute idea that doesn't feel so cute at all, but maybe eventually one day. All right, guys, so next up, we're going to talk about Albion Online. Now, this is going to be a list on games to look at, right? To keep your eyes on. So why are we doing that for Albion? Well, one, it's getting better. They're layering on content, like kind of like a nice little cake. I don't know if it's quite got icing yet, but, it's pretty meaty, I guess, for players who really enjoy PvP, sandboxy MMO kind of stuff. But Albion Online's most recent updates are just really exciting for me. Also knowing that they have competitive seasons. So you can't quite just flat out win in Albion, sort of, kind of. I mean, you have a guild, and you can actually conquer the season and win the season, and like they'll promote your guild and everything and shout it out, and the crowd goes crazy. Basically, you can kind of win. There is competitiveness in this game inherently, like, not quite esporty, but it's for a PvP MMO. Like, how many actually are this serious or taking this seriously or take itself that seriously? So Albion Online, while it's had ups and downs, and it definitely sits at mixed reviews for a reason, I'm thinking that, the layers of the cake are starting to stack up, and I'm thinking there's starting to be enough content for me to start making more videos and streaming it a little bit more. So I guess Albion Online coming soon here at twitch.tv/Skylint, because I want to start playing it a little bit more. So the new stuff that I think is just really turning me on is the fact that they added in player-chosen factions that are also tied to the different world cities, and then you have like these new bosses that you can fight, these raids, and more incentivization to have kind of structured PvP, though a balancing act always in Albion is a little too weighty to one side or the other most often. I think a lot of people have moved out of the PvP zones, but anyways, there's more engrossing PvE now, and it intertwines better with the PvP in terms of the world structure. You got these factions, you're going to be fighting other players in the factions, you're going to be fighting those bosses, and overall, if you haven't seen the combat for Albion, it looks point and click, and actually it is, but it's more like League of Legends. More skill-based, can feel like a fighting game a lot of the times, and I think if we can just get a little bit more update with the player control and customization and, more fluidity and flexibility with those builds, I think Albion Online can be truly great. So let's keep looking to see what the future updates have in store for us. All right, moving on, though, we have World of Warcraft, obviously. Now, for a lot of the same reasons of Albion Online, that's why I'm putting World of Warcraft. So I am a big fan of PvEVP games, and finally with this new expansion, which I need to get on streaming here, we got basically just that. It's really going back to the roots of Warcraft. It is the World of Warcraft, and they've added in this new section where you can do PvP. So you slot into a PvP system, flagging, and then you just kind of instance into basically a PvP server. So that's that. There's no PvE, PvP separation servers. It's just clickety-clack, there you go, and you're in the zone. So I think I'm probably going to level and play like that because it's Warcraft, but I do like that they still kind of give you the option. So also we just have, it's obviously World of Warcraft, whatever it's doing, you should just always be looking at what it's doing and looking at the evolution of WoW. Also, this is kind of a second-y thing, but vanilla WoW coming out again, you know, seeing how WoW does classic servers once again and how they incorporate that and promote that alongside of its modern servers, that's going to be something really interesting to watch too. Not totally unheard of, but the way Blizzard does it is going to be telltale if we get more of stuff like that and more fresh start servers and, you know, just more things like that in other games. And a final note, which is kind of outside the game, but it's something I really want to celebrate, and it's the fact that World of Warcraft started doing extra cinematics and storytelling outside of the game. This is something that I think MMOs desperately need, which we see in stuff like Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch. You know, we see it in MOBAs, but for some reason RPGs, you know, they try to cram everything in game, and it's boring and bad, and nobody sees it all, and what they do see is pretty bad. So having cinematics and comics outside is pretty cool. I want to see how they expand the lore in the World of Warcraft outside of the literal World of Warcraft. Number 2, we gotta talk about Crowfall. So this is the one like full big MMO that's already an MMO that is brand new that you can buy in Kickstarter, but like the game's not really like built yet, so it's still really early, even though it technically said it should have released by now. There's definitely some misgivings with Crowfall with some of their announcements, as well as how long it's taken to develop, as well as what they have been developing not exactly being what they promised. Yeah, there's some controversy, there's a little bit of drama, but overall I still think Crowfall is really exciting. So similar to Rend and a bit Albion Online, we have a game that you can win. It has multiple campaigns though, multiple varying different kind of campaigns that sort of have mutators to them. You might have a free-for-all campaign. You might have a campaign that only allows certain races or class combinations. You might have different kind of biomes and zones and things like that, but these all run together, and guilds have to split up their power base between these, reap the rewards, and bring it back to your custom Eternal Kingdom, which is actually pretty exciting. And not only do you have a custom Eternal Kingdom, but there's also supposed to be voxel destruction, and the gameplay mechanically is supposed to be more on the action-y kind of side of MMO combat. So there's a lot of really fun, cool stuff with Crowfall that makes me hype. We have to keep our eye on it though, because like there's some cool stuff and they can always stack and layer onto it like we've seen with Albion Online, but also being a Kickstarter game and being one of the first ones that should be releasing here that's totally brand new, this new genre of winnable MMO, I think it's also something that we need to be worried about because there's some money grubby stuff going on with Crowfall and like every Kickstarter MMO. So, you know, better or for worse, we need to keep an eye on Crowfall. All right, guys, but now we're on the final one that I think is a really important game to look at, and that's going to be RuneScape. Yeah, no, I'm putting RuneScape at number 1 because I actually think RuneScape is already a trendsetter. Like I said with World of Warcraft, how they handle classic servers, RuneScape's already done that and is tremendously successful. In fact, that is the most successful version of RuneScape, is 2007scape. Also, though, we see RuneScape, like, throughout the years, trying to do a lot of weird stuff. Like, you guys remember Darkscape? That was, you know, short-lived. And a few other RuneScape projects, but now they're porting to mobile. That's going to be big. For some of you guys, probably most of you guys, you don't really play mobile MMOs because, honestly, how many are there, really? Like, that are true MMOs, that are truly accessible on mobile devices, that are good? Yeah, but RuneScape being ported to mobile, which is already a game that I already said would do great. It would control great, it would play well on mobile devices. Well, how much more successful is this going to be? How much more long-lived is RuneScape going to be? And are other games going to follow suit and look at what RuneScape's doing and kind of emulate that success in some ways? We already see World of Warcraft starting to, you know, taste the trends, so maybe? But RuneScape also is supposed to have like a new MMO coming out. I don't know if it's going to be like a reimagined RuneScape, basically what RuneScape 3 is to 2007. I'm kind of hoping, but I actually really hope that we keep the same universe and same charm as 2007scape. But I also just want to see what happens with RuneScape as a whole, like the whole spectrum of RuneScapeage. I actually kind of like the card game. I like the universe. I love the questing. In fact, I wouldn't even mind like a little co-op action RPG RuneScape. Like, can they release RuneScape 3 not as an MMO? Maybe retool it so it's more action combat and stuff and make it 4 players? Because like that would be cool. I don't know. I could see RuneScape going in a lot of different directions. But even just 2007 RuneScape, it's really important to note that they've had like the Deadman tournaments. Like RuneScape is an esport MMO, which kind of teased a little bit some other games wanting to be serious and wanting to be esporty, but no, RuneScape technically had esport tournaments in an MMO setting as an MMO with massive numbers. And you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on with the publishing side of RuneScape. A lot of drama, a lot of politics, it seems, a lot of criticism being slung into Jagex's direction, but there's also just some really cool, exciting stuff, you know, that you could just geek out about. Wow, an esport MMO? What? It's a battle royale? What's going on? RuneScape, a battle royale? You know, things like that, mobile ports. There's just a lot of things in a lot of different directions, and RuneScape can afford that because it's got that massive, hardcore fan base that just kind of eats it up. So wherever it goes, I don't know, but we should keep our eye on it. So guys, that's going to be it for MMOs I think we should keep our eye on. I think we can also probably say, hey, we should, you know, maybe be thinking about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen now. Stuff like Project Gorgon, I also want to shout out a little bit because that's a whole new emergent genre, right? Is these new classical MMOs. I got a new list coming for that too. If you guys want to see it, hey, like the video and let me know in the comments below which one should make it. But yeah, you know, we could talk about those too. I just think, I don't know, man, all of them are kind of dying on arrival in my opinion, but we'll see, we'll see. But these are the games that I think are really solid, good games to just keep track of. And again, for ups and downs, better or worse, these games are probably going to leave a wake. If it's in the MMO genre, survival genre, or action RPG genre, whatever, these games, I think in a lot of ways, critically, are inspiring, and they do some really cool things, but also just as a player, a lot of these games do a lot of bad things too, absolutely. I'm not saying that these are the most hype games ever, but they do some hype things, right? So let me know in the comments below what you guys like or don't like about these games. What do you think is really cool that they're doing?